Because, I mean, there's two. I can't keep track of everybody here.
3 years ago, when I started here, the car there was a floor started in it. It was set up on the Art Morrison chassis. My first day here, Paul goes, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do some metal work on the rockers, or you want to do the chop on it? I said, man, let's chop it. And I just went big or go home type deal. I ain't afraid of nothing, neither is he, so it's rock and roll. So we just kind of, we meshed, or not this, but we meshed really good, real well, fairly quickly, I think.
Yeah.
So what we did is we performed what's called a gentleman's chop. And it's not elaborate, like some cars they get chopped and they get chopped really down low, and that becomes the identity of the car. It's chopped. With this, what we did, these cars, the front roof line was higher. So we lowered the roof, what was it, about 1.5 inches? So what we did is we took it out of the front of the cowl, right before the windshield wiper posts. And we cut through there, we pie cut the C-pillar, 3/8 of an inch, and pie cut that back. And then when we took the 1.5 inches out of the cowl, we brought the posts down to meet, welded it all back up, and welded up the 3/8 pie cut in the back. What that did is we were able to keep the stock window trim, the stainless, and the stock windshield height. None of that had to be cut or anything or modified at all. It just went right into place. It brought the roof down just a little bit, and it looks correct. The car is kind of a blank slate. There's not a lot of body lines on the side of this car. All you really have is the door cove. So to elaborate the door cove more, cut it out, we moved it inward and basically made the door cove deeper. And then throughout the car, you're going to see that we use that cove shape in different things. Everything from like the steering wheel to the interior door panels to the sides of the center console, the rear console or armrest. In the engine compartment, the inner fender structures. There's two things going on. One, they're C-cove, but also they're on a roller coaster ride type deal, which works because of the tilt forward hood that Paul made for the car. There's little wheels that are designed that are on the end of the hood. And when the hood is opened, those wheels ride up the inner fender structure and gets the hood away from the fender edge, so it'll clear everything. Because you got basically a 1/4 inch gap on a V'd hood. As soon as you start to move it, you dig the hood into the fenders. That's bad. So Paul, man, we bought like a $400 tilt hood roof kit. And I swear to God, this dude used 2 Heim joints and 1 bar out of it. The rest is sitting in the scrap pile. So if anybody wants half a used tilt hood kit, call me. We got one. But I will say this, Paul spent probably a month to 2 months just doing the front clip inner structure, making the tilt forward hood work, and making everything work seamlessly. On top of that, he incorporated the engine cover and then the old school valve covers on an LS motor by basically relocating the coil packs and everything down to the kick walls, in the front wheel wells. Smooth the firewall out, all the position of the radiator, the vintage air unit, just all of it. I mean, the front end of this thing is a masterpiece, and it's no small task done by Paul the Herman Monster. So then we got that accomplished. While he was doing that, I did the interior stuff. Now I don't sew, I don't wrap things. We have an upholsterer for that, Len, and he's amazing, really cool dude, really chill dude. And so basically I went to work and I did the center console. Paul did do the dash. We modified some things on the dashboard and smoothed out a lot of stuff, but it does retain the stock Studebaker
Gauge bezels.
Gauge bezels. Dakota Digital did all that and put all that in. We sent them out the bezel. They sent us back a finished, completed thing. Works great. Great job, guys. But everything from the kick panel, center console, armrest, the rear seat is a 65 T-Bird wraparound seat. I modified all that to fit in the car. Yeah, a lot of it shrunk, sideways, twisted, washed, hung out on the line to dry. Stuffed it in the car. The interior door panels, they're fiberglass, they're wrapped in foam and leather. Those, I went back to the old school playbook and to Ed Roth and used the old spitball technique, which is a combination of vermiculite and plaster that Ed used to use when forming the bodies for his bubble top cars. Basically, I laid out the cove and some steel round bar, wrapped it in duct tape and some other stuff, and basically covered everything in vermiculite and plaster, and shaved it, curved it, and then coated it, and ran matte and resin over it, and popped everything out, and we had door cards. And they turned out, I love them, they turned out great, and I can't believe I had a part in it, because they turned out nice, but rock and roll. You know, even a blind squirrel gets it. Yeah, even a blind squirrel gets a nut from time to time. I don't know what to tell you. Go
Didn't
ahead.
want to have the traditional headliner, so we took the bows out and had S&H chrome the bows. And while we had the car up on the rotisserie, we actually put the headliner in and put the chrome bows on it. But in my head, I kept seeing tray lighting the whole way around the ceiling of the car. And so that's what we did. And I had Eric make some fiberglass finish panels around the side. And of course, we wrapped them and everything. So, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's
Pretty
no
cool
there's
little
no
feature.
there's no dome light in the car. You just open it and there's just this light that
Just
emulates
glows.
from all four corners and inside the roof.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. You know, it's neat how it turned out, and it was just how wild could you make it? How wild could you go and keep it sedate and thoughtful at the same time? And that's, you know, again, that's credit to the owner, David, that gave us that opportunity to do that. You don't get that opportunity all the time.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great to work with them.
You know, I mean, we can go through and we've done Camaros and Model A's and Corvettes and Chevelles and Mustangs and GTOs and stuff, but those guys kind of have a set thing as to what they want. You know, they want the car restored and painted and, you know, run fast, you know, more of a hot rod thing. You know, the custom, this has been the mainstay custom guy here, you know, for 3 years now. You know, and now it gets to go home soon. So.
Yeah. But it would come time we started working on the exhaust, trying to figure out where to run the exhaust, and I went and got several different tips, tried to bring it out the back, just kind of looking at different options and stuff, and nothing looked right to me coming out the back of the car. And I was kind of getting a little frustrated with it. And, Eric suggested these little exhaust bezels right here. He had done them in one of his trucks, and I said, you know what, I like that idea. So I went and got the bezels that are there now. That he took flat aluminum and hand hammered those bezels out,
3003 aluminum,
bead rolled them. And
bead rolled, some English wheel action, some spit, and so I had to make one, then I had to make a duplicate for the other side. And making the piece is one thing. Then once it was made, you had to contour it to fit the quarter panel curve, because it's not a flat thing. It comes down and then kind of pitches this way. So a whole lot of math going on that I'm not good at, but I was able to make it. So,
he's just a whiner. Anyway.
I had to justify my position in life and my job and be like, oh, this is super hard to do. It wasn't.
Yeah. So at that point, it's like, well, you know, now we got to do something under the back end of it. Roll pan looks like that's the answer. So yeah, he went to work fabricating up the rear roll pan. So underneath the back of the car, the gas tank, everything's hidden. It's all smooth under there.
Yeah.
Getting the exhaust to come through the frame and up around the frame and under the frame and out the quarter panels, that was a little challenge too. But we pulled it off.
He didn't complain too awful much.
No. Anyway, while I was in the process of working on the front end of the car, working on the hood and everything, of course, I had a lot of time to stare at the front end of it, right? And I kept, in my head, I could see 69, 70 Mustang, you know, front spoiler on the thing. And I kept seeing it. I told Eric, I said, we got to build it. So I turned him loose on that, and he fabbed that front spoiler out and did a phenomenal job.
Well, thank you.
And it just, you know, between that and these exhaust ports, I think it just was a neat touch, you know. It just kind of makes the car hot rod, you know, kind of grumpy old thing, you know.
There was a couple days that I came in. Actually, there was more times that I can count on my hand. I don't have enough fingers or toes that I come in the morning and Paul's like, I was up all night thinking about something. This is what you're gonna make. I'm like, okay, rock and roll. The spoiler was kind of fun because he's like, it needs to do this and kind of just move, and he goes, just envision like 69, 70 Boss 1 Mustang. I'm like, all right, got it. I was able to put it together and show it to him. He's like, that's exactly what I wanted. I was like, when? I'm employed for another week.
Okay, when we chopped the top, like we said, the front and back glass stayed the same. Studebaker never offered power windows in the back. They did offer power windows up front, crank windows in the back. This guy here lost 2 weeks of his life figuring out the back windows, making him go up and down power. But they did it. He did it. So customer said he would really like to have a one-piece door glass in it. And so that was quite a challenge. Quite a challenge. As the glass goes down, it goes forward as it goes down, so we couldn't make it a full length because as soon as you start to put it down, it would dive into the front of the door. So we had to have the glass cut off. I mean, this is all template stuff, right? And then wound up making the little triangular pieces on the front of the door. Then I'm sitting there looking at it like, well, what kind of mirrors we're going to run on this thing? This, something's got to fit in here and make that look right. And just happened to be at a parts store one day and looked over and seen a car that had the perfect mirror, what I thought was a perfect mirror, and so I bought a pair of them and stuck them on there. And it was just the right thing to do.
I was kind of on the fence with the mirrors, but over time they've grown on me, and it fits. First of all, from the get-go, it fit the need that we needed to have. It fit the peg, fit the hole that we had. But now over time they seem to fit, but it took me a minute to I don't know, and then now it's all right. We're good. They look good, and they fit the process. So
yeah.
So this is the hard part, right? We're doing this to basically explain, what was done to the car. The problem is you're trying to shoehorn 3 years of beating your brains in to go, well, what's better? Where's the next step? Where's the plateau? And then where's the step ladder for the plateau or up above the plateau to get there? And now we're sitting here on this seat that actually is the seat from the previous owner. This was what he was going to run in the car. I'm glad we didn't decide to stick with this seat, but he has since passed, and at least wise we wanted to have his seat here, and just man, the car's done. It's something that hopefully he would have been blown away by, that happened.
I promise you he would have. He come out here to the shop a couple times years ago when he was still with us, and yeah, I'm sure he would be just smiling from ear to ear if he saw it today.
It is a hard thing to sit here and, okay, what did you do? Well, we built that. There was a bunch of stuff in between, and we did a bunch of stuff. But to sit here and go, okay, what's everything you did? It's, name it.
Yeah. So the Sea Cove theme that we used, of course, right away in my head, I could see the inside of the door panels lighting, and then when he started fabricating the console, I told myself, let's use that same Sea Cove theme in the console. So when he started fabricating that, I'm like, I think we need to chrome the Sea Coves on that, so we'll put lights up there and let it reflect. And so we not only did that in the engine compartment in the Sea Coves, they're backlit, so when you open the hood, a light shines through the cove, which is pretty cool. And then also the engine cover. I guess that's something we haven't really touched on. Really, the engine cover. I took a couple small block Chevy valve covers, cut the tops out of them. Fabricated some top parts, and then put the Studebaker emblems and wing nuts on it because I wanted it to look 50s ISK 50 something or other.
50ism?
50ism.
Isms?
Yeah.
We used isms.
And one of my customers used to laugh because every time we'd need something, I'd go to the back room or outside and come back toting it, and he'd always laugh. He said, "Man, you have everything you need." So anyway, I'd cut a 40 Chevy hood up, and had the louvers hanging on the wall back there. So when we started fabricating up the engine cover, I'm like, I know where them 40 Chevy louvers are going. So that's incorporated in the side of the motor cover. The little chrome spears on the top are off of 36 Chevy hood sides, and then I cut little pieces of stainless and made them fit on the fins or on the louvers on the engine cover. So the engine cover, when you open the hood, it backlights too and comes through the little louvers. So it's a pretty cool little eye-popping thing, I think. Mm-hmm. So the seats in the car, a lot of these Studebakers had a little S emblem on the quarter panel, and so I could see it in my head. We incorporated that into the back of each one of the seats, and then had a guy build us with a 3D printer a larger Studebaker S symbol, and so that's in the trunk on the front panel. So when you open the trunk, it's got a little spotlight lighting that, and it's always fun to use stuff from another car. And we had a '72 Camaro in here a while back.
I broke the key bezel on this '71 or '72 Camaro we had in here. I over tightened it. Thing was kind of a pain. they chromed the studs, and I had to thread the studs to get nutserts on them and bolts on them, and I ended up snapping one off. So I'm like, ugh. So I just ordered another one for that car. I broke it, so I just bought one. So we had this really nice chrome broken stud off bezel thing. Paul's like, I can make this work for the spotlight for the big S thing in the trunk, and he figured it out, put a light in there, and everything's great and kosher, and the world is at peace, you know.
With the lighting, yeah.
With the lighting, yes, with the lighting.
Yeah.
Just so that's on film and it's recorded for prosperity, yes, I did in fact break a piece on a car that we
Cost
was
me
putting
a lot
together.
of money that day.
You a lot of money, I bought it. And then I paid like double to get it here and like to buy it online. And they're like, dude, we have an account with so-and-so, I won't even mention her name, and they could have got it for like half the price. I'm like, whatever.
2 days instead of a week.
Live and learn. Yeah, it took a week to get it here. It was ridiculous. It just, whatever.
Anyway, thank you so much to David and Ann. You guys have been a real blessing. And just letting us have creativity, and got to choose colors, wheels, everything pretty much. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
And just build me a car. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to do this, because it's not every day you get to go nuts on one and just do what you want to do. So,
Well, maybe not for you, but I've got to do that several times.
Oh, whatever. Well, the stuff in my garage, I get to do what I want.
Yeah,
with,
that's
so
right.
There you go, rock and roll.
There you go.
But yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to do this, and we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
We built you a really cool car and a safe car. You know, we went above and beyond to make sure you can hammer on it, you can show it, and it will get you home and keep you safe while doing it. So thank you very much.
Yep. So I'm Paul Herman. This is Eerie Eric, and we are in Gallatin, Tennessee at the Body and Soul Shop. Been here at this location for 21 years. And if you want to reach us, you can call us at 615-310-1957. And 1957, get it? Oh. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope we didn't ramble on too much. But
Totally rambled, but
God bless.
through the magic of our producer here, he's going to edit it down and make us not sound like.
Thanks to Danny Mark Photography for helping us out with this project.
I never heard of her.
You haven't?
No. Who is that?
Well, he's the one running the camera.
Oh, it's a he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's filming this.
Yes, he is.
Good job, dude.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Great lighting.
All right, Danny Mark, Dan Money, rock and roll, man.
And it's Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, he's here. He moved here. He drank the water. He's one of us. We gave him the shampoo to clean off the California or wherever he's from, and he's good now. Solid dude. So, he's actually pretty fly. You can't see all this right now, but all this all this stuff of equipment is actually surrounding us right now, and all you see is us. But there's a whole menagerie of wires and stuff and everything, and it seems professional enough, I guess, you know. But
He even left his shoes on the floor so
I
he
know.
wouldn't make any
Yeah,
noise.
he took his shoes off, and he's sitting, in his socks. But his dedication to this craft is excellent. So, we couldn't be happier with what he's doing for us, and.
He's an old school rocker too, so the dude knows how to play guitar and drums and all that stuff, so he can make your music.
I mean, this guy's clearly a jack of all trades.
And really, look, if you're going to get married, he's the guy to see, because he's going to be doing weddings. He already does weddings, and he's actually going to the Grand Canyon to do a wedding thing.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah. Long story short, Danny Mark Photography and video, or I think he does tanning beds too, or rental movie videos, or tanning beds. I don't know. There's a place out here that does rentals and tanning beds, and that's two things I don't want. And it's like when you go into a bathroom in a bar or whatever, and it's got a little sticker that says "toilet cameras for scientific purposes only." It's like, no, thank you. Inadvertently, the sink does not have that little sticker, so usually the sink is where I wind up. Anyways, Danny Mark Photography, great guy. Moving on. Peace. Love y'all.
Cut. That was good.